Hey everybody, my name is Lowell and welcome to the channel. So we have a reaction video. This is going to be from Mama with an Accent on YouTube. Europeans are going to regret visiting America for the World Cup and it's America's fault. Good on you, America, with your good times and your good food. Let's jump in. Let's have a look at this one.
I've been seeing people online saying that Europeans are going to hate America after the World Cup. And I completely agree. Not because America is dangerous, not because it's loud, not because everyone drives giant trucks. No, they're going to hate America because after spending a few weeks here, they're going to have to go back to Europe. And that is the painful part because I know exactly what that feels like. As someone who moved here from Eastern Europe, you don't realize how many small things in America are actually life-changing until you live them. And then you go back to Europe and think, wait, why is everything harder again?
I'm just looking, she's bringing up some good points already, but I'm just looking at the house behind her and just thinking, man, if that was in Europe, that house would be a bloody fortune. Bloody fortune, something that size. And we're only seeing a tiny little bit of it too.
Before we get into all those things, if you love America, travel, funny cultural differences, and seeing this country through the eyes of a Slavic mom, make sure to subscribe because that's exactly what we do here. Now, let's talk about all the reasons Europeans are going to hate America after the World Cup 2026. This is one of the biggest culture shocks. In Europe, you order a drink, and that's your drink. You finish it slowly. You respect it. In America, a drink is basically unlimited. You get a soda or iced tea, and then someone asks, would you like a refill? And it's free. Excuse me? Free? Then comes the ice. Everything has ice. Water, soda, juice, tea, even when you don't ask for it. At first, I was confused. Then I became addicted.
See, when I get a drink out, I always say no ice because you know how much ice takes away from the drink. But if you're getting free refills, bugger the ice, take as much ice as you want. That's why I never get ice in my drink because you, as you said, you only get one drink. There's no refills in Australia. And if you get it filled with ice, you're losing out on all that drink. But if it's free refills, bugger it. Might as well.
First, I was confused.
Yep.
Then I became addicted. Now, if I get a drink without the ice, I feel like something is missing. Combine that with air conditioning everywhere. And America basically becomes freezing inside, freezing drinks, and somehow still 95 outside.
This thing with air conditioning, I don't know where it started in Europe or who started this thing about Europeans can't turn on the air conditioning and stuff. I've seen it over reels and whatever. They're having one of the biggest heat waves in Europe ever. And the politicians are turning around and say, don't turn on your air conditioning. It's like, are you stupid? Of course we're going to turn on bloody air conditioning. Not a lot of people probably have it over there, not as much as we do here and obviously in the States. But how can you tell people don't use your air conditioning, And it's America's fault that it's a heat wave. Oh, my God. Some people are moronic, I tell you what. How the hell is that anybody's fault, but the weather? You want to blame anybody, blame Earth. That's the problem. This air conditioning thing is just ridiculous. It's winter here in Australia. I feel like running my air conditioning just because. I have 4 air conditioners in my house. I could not survive in Queensland without air conditioning. That is the worst thing I've ever heard in my life. It's bloody ridiculous.
Freezing drinks and somehow still 95 outside. At first, Europeans will say, why is everything so cold? Day 1, why ice? Day 5, less ice. Day 10, extra ice please. Day 14, not cold enough. So a few days later, they are asking for extra ice and carrying a sweater in July smiling. And when they go back to Europe, no ice, no refills, limited AC. That's when they'll feel it. That's when they'll go, okay, I get it now. Asking for water in America is hilarious. Can I have some water, please? Absolutely! 5 seconds later, you receive a giant ice water for free. And they keep refilling it. No hesitation, no charge, no problem. In Europe, you often get bottled water or smaller portions. In America, water is just there.
Bottled water because you got to pay for it. That's the thing. And I can't remember ever. We have a law. I'm pretty sure it's a law, or it's an unwritten law anyway. In Australia, if somebody asks you for water, you have to give them water. They can't refuse you, even just a cup of water. You know, we have that in Australia, but I don't know in Europe. I don't know. But the bottled water is a good one, so they can get around it, and you have to pay for it. You know. Oh, sorry, we only have bottled water, so you're going to have to pay for it. Typical.
Smaller portions. In America, water is just there. And after the World Cup, they are going to go back to Europe and order water. And suddenly remember, oh, right, this part is different. Can we appreciate American parking lots? You pull in, park, open every door, take your child out, load groceries, and nobody's touching your car. Nobody is blocking you. Nobody is squeezing next to you. In Europe, parking feels like a strategy game. In America, it feels like space actually exists. And after a few weeks here, they are going to go back to Europe and suddenly remember how stressful parking can be.
Now, we're the same, well, without Alaska, we're the same size as America. Our car parks feel like we're in the UK. I lived in the UK for a long time, 10 years in my 20s, and we have the same car parks. I don't understand it. I don't understand it. They seem to be getting smaller and smaller. I know the cars on average are pretty small in the UK, smaller than we have here in Australia. But the car parking is just the same. Sometimes you have to squeeze in and out of your car, and the car parking, especially just down the road with my local supermarket, it is ridiculous bloody parking. I do understand the car parks. We've had that in another video where, you know, there's been an example of car parks, and it's just like, man, that car park is massive. But again, it comes down to space as well. You know, the UK is pretty limited. We've got a lot more space here, but we're all kind of crammed into the edge of Australia because there's nothing else in the middle of it. So, but yeah, car park is something that definitely grind my gears, that's for sure, as they say.
Suddenly remember how stressful parking can be. Now, cars. Americans don't buy cars. They buy comfort. Living rooms on wheels. At first, I thought,
that is a good way. They don't buy cars. They buy comfort. That's a good way to look at it. That's a good way. Practical, economic, get you from A to B would be the UK. You know, as I said, you know, the cars are on average much smaller. To get you A to B, more economic and whatever else. But in America, they buy for comfort. That's a good way to put it. That's a good way to put it.
Comfort.
Okay.
Living rooms on wheels. At first, I thought, why does everyone need such big SUVs? Then I drove one. And then I own one because now I understand. Wide roads, big parking spaces, families, groceries, everything fits.
Yeah.
In Europe, cars feel smaller, tighter, more compact. In America, everything feels like it finally has room. And then they go back to Europe and think, why does my car feel like a toy again? In America, if you can do it without leaving your car, you stay in it. In Europe, you park and walk everywhere. And after the World Cup, they are going to go back to Europe, park their car, and instinctively think, I wish I could stay inside for this. Because once you get used to drive through life, you don't forget it. Everything is bigger in America. Roads, stores, parking, carts, fridges, portions. You go into Walmart for toothpaste and leave with candles, snacks, a blanket, and somehow patio furniture. In Europe, stores feel more compact, more structured. In America, it feels like space itself is a part of the experience. And then they go back to Europe and think, wait, where is the rest of the aisle? Even food portions change you. A medium drink in America looks like a large everywhere else. And when they go back, they notice it immediately. Let's talk customer service. In Europe, where is the item? Over there. In America, I'll walk you there. And they actually walk with you. Sometimes they help you. Sometimes they check back later. At first, it feels strange. Then it feels normal. Then they go back to Europe and think, oh, okay, this feels different now. Can I get it to go? Becomes life. At first, Europeans sit and eat normally, very relaxed, very European. Then, one day, they think, actually, can I get this to go? And just like that, it starts. Then, they go back to Europe and still want a box for everything. And what about politeness of Americans? Everyone greeting you, saying, hi, how are you? At first, why is everyone asking me this? Then they start doing it too. Then they go back to Europe and accidentally say it to strangers and think, wait, I didn't do that before. People joke about America.
I know when I lived in the UK, it's definitely different than Australia. We're probably maybe not quite maybe as saying hello, but we throw out a g'day all the time in Australia, you know, even just pass them, whatever. Definitely not as, you know, the UK definitely doesn't do it as much. Mainland Europe, I couldn't speak on, so that's not my realm. But in Australia, I don't know if we're quite at the American level, but we'll definitely say hello. You know, as I said, you know, we'll throw out a g'day to anybody and everybody. And it's usually just passing, you know, nothing, you know, we're not stopping and we're not talking, whatever else. But yeah, I can't remember ever walking down a road because I lived in Scotland. And then just saying hello to people. You know, people have their heads down and walking, mainly because because it's bloody freezing. Yeah, I can't remember it being super friendly like that in the UK. But I have heard that about America, for sure. For sure.
I didn't do that before. People joke about America. But have you seen this country? You can drive a few hours and suddenly you are looking at mountains or beaches or desert or forest or crystal clear springs. It feels like 5 different countries in one. America is unbelievably beautiful. And during the World Cup, millions of visitors are going to realize soccer isn't the only attraction. In Europe, you often travel to see something new. In America, you just drive and the landscape changes like a movie. And after the World Cup, they are going to experience all of this beauty. And then go back to Europe and think, why did I only see one type of scenery today? Because America is unbelievably beautiful. And once you've seen it, you don't really forget it. One of my favorite things about America, everywhere you go, you hear different languages. You'll hear English, Spanish, Ukrainian, Polish, Portuguese, French, Arabic, Romanian, and 10 other languages before lunch. People bring their traditions, their food, their culture. In Europe, countries are diverse too. But here it feels like everything is mixed in one place, every day, everywhere. And then they go back to Europe and suddenly the streets feel quieter. Not bad, just different. Like something is missing. That global energy. You don't notice it until it's gone. As an immigrant, this one means the most to me. People focus on America's problems. Every country has problems. But what surprised me was how much people believe anything is possible here. Want to start a business? Go for it. Want to change careers? Go for it. Want to move states and restart your life? Go for it. Want to make YouTube videos in your second language with an accent? Apparently, people will actually watch. In many parts of Europe, there are rules, system, limits, expectations. In America, there is more. Try it and see. And after the World Cup, they are going to go back to Europe and think, why does everything suddenly feel more complicated again? That difference stays with you. So yes, I agree. Europeans are going to hate America after World Cup 2026. Not because it's bad, but because it makes life feel easier, bigger, more convenient, and more open in ways you don't fully appreciate until you leave. And then they go back to Europe and suddenly notice everything they didn't notice before. Because the hardest part of America isn't arriving, it's living. If you've ever been to America, tell me in the comments, what's the one thing you got used to that you still miss when you go back? And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.
So I'll put her channel information down in the description so you can go check out more videos from her if you want to. So I think some good points there, and I think some people will be going back. You know, we've seen the videos of people saying, you know, they love America and they love this and they love that, going back home to their routine. I mean, I guess it's a lot of people have been on holiday, so you know you've got that holiday brain when you're away. It doesn't matter where you go, but once you kind of go back and you got to work 9 to 5 and you got to do this and you got to do that and you got to travel and whatever else, it gets a little bit different for sure. So, but I think she's bringing up points about, you know, everyday things about life as well. You know, even just having that ability to dream as well. You know, that ability to, as you said, you know, you want to move states, fine, good, move. You know, do whatever you want. You want to change jobs, fine. You know, I think because obviously Europe's got a lot of traditions behind it. It's been around for a long, long time. You know, people have played it safe as well. You know, stay in the job because it's safe. You got to pay your rent. You know, you don't want to be, you know, whatever. You don't want to rock the boat kind of thing. People in the UK will live in the same town, some of them will live in the same street that the parents live. You know, they don't move away, you know, because it's comfortable. You know, they know that area, you know, it's very comfortable. I can understand that as well too, you know, to have a comfortable life, safe life, you know, some people, you know, appreciate that. But if you have that opportunity, you know, to change your life, to do, there's been a lot of videos we've reacted to where people are trying to move to America as well. You know, they've went over there X amount of times. They love it. They're trying to get back there. You know, I can understand that as well too, you know, having that opportunity. See, and, you know, things like being able to drive to the mountains in a day, you know, change that scenery and be completely different place, you know, completely different scenery. We don't have mountains here. Certainly not like they do in America. I'd love that. You know, if we drive out west, yeah, the scenery changes, but it gets much harsher and everything else out there. You know, it's very empty in Australia. But that was good. I like that. She brought up some very good points about America and how Europeans are going to feel, you know, from her experience, how they're going to feel moving back to Europe, you know, after this World Cup. So very good points that she brings up. So let me know if you enjoyed that one, guys. Thank you very much for joining me today. Make sure you stay safe, and I'll definitely see you in the next reaction video. Oh, you're still here? You want more content? Why don't you check out my Patreon down here? You'll get plenty more content and some exclusive videos over there too. If not,
Why not check out this one over here?